Hello and welcome to Blaster Game Academy, Class 101. So this is a first video, my 12th take at it, but the first video in a multi-part series looking at Unreal Engine as if we've never started it up before. So this is for all you complete noobs or for people who want to get out of some bad habits, start fresh. Great, or I hope it will be a great little series for you all. So at this point, I expect you to have your launcher installed, and whichever engine or version of the engine you're going to be using. For the sake of these videos, I'm going to be using the most current at the time, 4.18.3. So let's get started and make our first project. So once we've got an engine installed, we hit launch right there, and we wait. Depending on your machine, this delay can be a little longer or a little shorter. Now, we're going to be working fully with blueprints. That's kind of my jazz. What I do recommend, though, is watch some videos, read whatever you need to read, and get yourself set up so that you have the opportunity or the ability to work in code as well. Get your Visual Basic install and all that. Even though you may never want to write a line of code yourself, some of the plugins or extensions to Unreal Engine that you may wish to use, some of them do require the ability to do a C++ project. So it's not a bad idea to, in the future, get yourself set up to be able to start code projects. Okay, so usually I would go over to New Project and C++ for myself, again, because I like to be able to use some of these plugins. For ourselves, we're going to start a new project, Blueprint. There's a bunch of great jumping off points here, but we're going to start with a blank project. We're going to go completely fresh, no safety nets. And we are going to name this, for the sake of the tutorial, Project 101. Sorry, it was like right on there and I couldn't see what I was doing. We're going to create the project. And more waiting. Sorry, I was just listening to some Patty Gurdy, a hurdy-gurdy player. She is fantastic. I highly recommend hitting up her name on YouTube. A very interesting instrument that she plays, the hurdy-gurdy. If you're into any sort of like folk or Celtic stuff, definitely check it out. So now that we have our project started, let's just go over a brief overview of our editor window. So we've got the viewport right in front of us, and this is where we're going to be able to fly around and look at our level. What I'm doing to get this kind of movement is I am right-clicking, and then from there I can use WASD or the arrow keys to move about. Okay, so there we go, we get to move about. Just off to the right here is our world outliner. See, it says it right there. This shows us everything that's currently in our level. So if we say we're to select the floor, hey look, there's the floor. And if we go away from it, double-clicking in here is going to focus us right on whatever we are looking for. So great way to quickly find and search for things in your level, especially once it starts getting more complicated. And then of course you can do folders in here as well. Right below the world outliner, once we have something selected like the floor, is the details panel. So this is going to give us information on where it's located in the world, let us play with its transforms, and then any open variables that we can adjust on the object. To the left of our viewport is the spawn menu. So this here, we can switch to different modes. The basic mode here lets us bring different things into our world. So if we're looking to bring in a set of basic stairs or whatnot, just for quickly setting things up and testing, we can spawn a lot of things from that menu. Down below is our content browser. What we want to do is hit this little button right there, and this is going to bring us our file tree, because we're going to be using this quite often for organization. We're going to have our file tree here, things we're working on right here. Okay, this is where we're going to be doing a lot of work. So actually, we're going to start off just to get an overview of how some object panels look. We're going to start off, so we're going to right click here, do a new folder, call that blueprints. And then over here, we're now going to right click and make a new blueprint class. And we're going to do a game mode. So this right here, game mode base. I'm going to call this GM_mode. And there we are. So now if we go under content, nothing there, blueprints, and look, it's got a nice hierarchy. And as we add things in that, we're going to be using that quite a bit. So to create objects, we right click in here and we can create things of different types. Once we have it created, we can do a double click. And hey, look, we've got a new editor window. So again, we got a viewport to see what the object is we're actually working with. And then where all the magic happens is the event graph. And this is where we're going to be doing that visual scripting, the blueprint system from Unreal. Make some magic happen and get something interactive going on. And we're going to deal with that in 2 more episodes, I believe. So right now we're just getting an overview, and then next we're going to talk about some standards and naming and best practices, and then we're going to get our hands dirty in here. One more window to familiarize yourself with. If we hit edit up here in the corner, project settings. And this here is going to let us set up a bunch of defaults and what modes to use and what characters to use and how we're to interact with our game with inputs. So lots of kind of core settings stuff under project settings. We're not going to worry about any of it right now, but when I mention project settings, make sure you know how to bring it up. We're just going to close that for a moment. So again, that is under edit. And then project settings. Okay. So now that we've got a brief look at how to move our way around, let's start talking about standards and best practices. And you can come catch up with me in the next video where we're going to touch on that. So goodbye for now, and we'll see you soon.